Now at 6 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, school improvements or consolidation, a special meeting about your tax dollars.
More than a year without local DPS service, the new timeline for reopening.
Plus, the man accused of shooting National Guard members near the White House appears in court from a hospital bed.
We had a little sunshine today, and that was nice, but the clouds actually roll back up from the Gulf by tomorrow, and we look for light rain, and then the heavier rain is here on Thursday. We'll be talking about that coming up in a moment.
And the Cuero Gobblers clash with Sinton again this Friday. Last time was a thriller. Coming up in sports, we're previewing the game. See what lies ahead for the Gobblers.
You're watching 25 News Now at 6. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Shawna Currie.
And I'm Don Brubaker.
Victoria ISD is holding a special board meeting to talk about a proposed bond. District officials say the bond could bring much needed improvements to schools across the district while saving money. The discussion will focus on fixing up in campuses and even the possibility of consolidating some schools to better serve students. The bond committee will meet on Thursday at 5:30 p.m. in the Victoria ISD Administration Building. The public is invited and encouraged to attend. State officials have a better timeline of when the Victoria DPS driver license office will reopen. The office has been closed for more than a year due to mold cleanup. The project comes with a price tag of more than $327,000. State officials now say repairs are expected to be finished early next year. Until then, for in-person services, DPS is directing people to the Port Lavaca or Cuero offices where Victoria staff are helping out. You can schedule an appointment online or by calling DPS customer service.
The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers will hold a public meeting Wednesday night in Port Lavaca. The Corps is proposing to widen and deepen the Matagorda ship channel. Working with the Calhoun Port Authority, this effort aims to improve port efficiency, reduce transportation costs, and improve navigational safety by addressing limitations in the channel's current width and depth. This project is also expected to strengthen national security. The meeting will be from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Bauer Community Center. The Salvation Army of Victoria warming shelter was opened overnight. Officials tell us 14 clients spent the night in the shelter. The Salvation Army shelter and their main office at 1302 North Lewis Street opens when the chill factor is below freezing or when the surface temperature is below 35 degrees. If you see news happening, call our newsroom at 361-576-0026 or send us an email at staff@crossroadstoday.com. And I'm sure some people may be wondering if tonight the warming shelter will be open because the temperature drops low enough, and I think we know somebody who might know that.
Yeah, Mac, it got really nice and sunny, and it even warmed up a little bit this afternoon where we didn't really need a jacket if we had a long sleeve shirt.
It was nice in the sun. It's in the shade. It was a little on the chilly side, but it did warm up with the sunshine. Tomorrow, however, the clouds roll back in, and then we got some more rain to deal with. We'll be talking about all that coming up in just a moment. Stay tuned.
All right, thank you, Mac. Well, an Afghan man accused of a deadly shooting near the White House appeared in court today. Ramanullah Lockenwall pleaded not guilty to murder and assault charges from his hospital bed. Investigators say he shot 2 National Guard members on November 26th. One later died. The other remains in critical condition. His lawyer asked for release, citing no prior criminal record, but prosecutors called the charges too serious. The judge agreed, ordering him held without bond. Lockenwall is due back in court in mid-January.
One of the police officers who took Luigi Mangione into custody last December testified at a hearing in the case today, saying he knew it was him immediately.
As ABC's Rena Roy reports, prosecutors are working to prove why their evidence should be shown to the jury in this case.
New details revealed in court today about the moments before Luigi Mangione was taken into custody last year, 5 days after the shooting death of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson on a New York City sidewalk. Prosecutors showing police body camera footage from officers responding to a McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania. Officer Joseph Detweiler called to the stand. He confronted Mangione mid-meal, a half-eaten hash brown and breakfast sandwich still on the table. Detweiler testified that he asked Mangione to pull down his face mask and that he knew it was him immediately, asking the judge to exclude Mangione's statements to police during that period.
That suggests what they're going to call at court this consciousness of guilt. It's going to help solidify their hoping to the jury that they got the right person.
Detweiler further testifying that he believed Mangione presented a safety issue, that he and his partner were under a high level of threat. The defense accusing Detweiler of violating Mangione's rights, saying timestamps on body camera footage prove officers didn't read Mangione his Miranda rights until about 19 minutes after confronting him, asking the judge to exclude Mangione's statements to police. During Detweiler's testimony, Mangione shifting in his chair at the defense table, taking notes at times and staring ahead, focused on the footage of his arrest. The defense is also hoping to exclude other key evidence, including items that were found in Mangione's backpack, like a 3D printed gun and a notebook, saying that police did not have a search warrant and therefore the search was illegal. But prosecutors argue that everything was done lawfully. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
Today, federal officials confirmed Immigration and Customs Enforcement is preparing a new operation in Minneapolis and St. Paul, targeting undocumented Somali immigrants. No other details about the operation were made public. In a statement, Department of Homeland Security officials said the agency does not discuss future or potential operations. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz blasted the proposed effort, calling it a PR stunt that will indiscriminately target immigrants.
Even as he calls for diplomacy, Venezuela's president is standing his ground against growing U.S. military pressure.
Stefano Pozzobon is in Caracas and brings us the latest on the mood in Venezuela.
Nicolas Maduro's supporters came out in numbers this Monday. We're actually only a couple of blocks from the presidential palace. Maduro himself is speaking on a stage. What you're seeing here is the power base of the Venezuelan government. It's workers' unions, public employees. It's people who depend on government benefits for their daily livelihoods. And this is a movement that has been on power in Venezuela for the last 25 years. Shows of force like this one send a message that the movement is not ready to give up power anytime soon. They've told us, for example, that this is just the latest of a long series of confrontations with Washington, and that they hope that their leader, Maduro, is not going to bend down to the pressure coming down from President Donald Trump. This is not the majority of Venezuelans. However, it shows that the government is still capable of rallying up the crowd and rallying up its power base, and sends exactly the message that Maduro wants to, that he's on a stage, on center, on television, and seemingly unshakable. For CNN, this is Stefano Pozzobon, Caracas.
The FAA is warning major airlines about possible violations during the government shutdown. The Trump administration began limiting flights at 40 major airports on November 7th. Officials said the cuts were needed to ease pressure on air traffic controllers working without pay. In new letters sent to the airlines, the FAA said some carriers may have exceeded those limits. Violations could bring a fine of up to $75,000 per flight.
Remember to subscribe to our Crossroads Today YouTube channel. Also hit the like button and click the notification bell. Stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 6, the government wants to put money in your child's bank account, and a billionaire just made it even better.
Also ahead, no winner again, which means the Powerball jackpot climbs even higher for Wednesday's drawing. The new numbers ahead.
Students at the University of Texas at San Antonio recently had to switch dorms because of Senate Bill 8, also called the bathroom bill. The law requires people at public institutions to use restrooms that match the sex they were assigned at birth.
Courtney Friedman reports that as a result, some UTSA students were reassigned to new dorm spaces to comply with the new regulations.
There's going to be a problem. We're not going to be able to do this in one trip.
It's the moving day UTSA sophomore Katarina Rendon and her mom never wanted.
So when you moved in, you knew that you had a male roommate?
Yes.
And that wasn't a problem?
No, not at all. I had actually chosen to be in mixed gendered housing because I felt more comfortable with people that aligned with me.
Do you identify with LGBTQ?
Yes.
But she's not transgender. She just happens to have a roommate who's a man. So according to the state's new bathroom bill, SB 8, they cannot share a bathroom. The bill says bathrooms can only be shared by people assigned the same sex at birth. Supporters say it will create more secure private spaces.
They're separating brothers and sisters, they're separating couples. You choose to live with who you want to live with, and they're taking that choice away.
She got several emails from UTSA which explained she and others had to move so the school could comply with SB 8. Katarina is worried for transgender students.
It's just creating a dangerous environment. Like, you could have a transgender individual who rooms with their friend, and then all of a sudden they're moved with someone who has like violent tendencies towards people like that.
She, like many other Texans, wonder how this will be enforced.
I don't understand how you can police this to fully consenting adults.
The shingles vaccine not only offers protection against the painful viral infection, a new study suggests the 2-dose shot also may slow the progression of dementia. The study published today in the journal Cell reports the vaccine could lead to a reduced risk of dying from the disease. 2 doses of the shingles vaccine is recommended for adults 50 and older. Vaccination is estimated to be more than 90% effective at preventing shingles in older adults.
To get more news, weather, and sports, just come to our website, crossroadstoday.com.
Details of 2 new investment accounts for America's children. The president unveiling the so-called Trump accounts, plus an historic donation from a Texas tech giant family for millions of children.
ABC's Melissa Adon has details on how these new accounts will grow and who will have ownership of them.
At the White House today, the president announcing a new kind of investment for the future.
This will give millions of dollars, millions of children, middle-class families a stake in American prosperity, a benefit from the rising stock market, and a better shot at the American dream.
The new so-called Trump accounts are a key part of President Trump's signature tax and spending legislation passed earlier this year. They start with a $1,000 deposit from the Treasury Department into accounts for children born January 1st of this year through 2028. When they turn 18, they can withdraw the money to put towards their education, a home, or a business. The White House says the funds must be invested in an index fund that tracks the stock market, and accounts for some of their kids are getting a $1 billion boost.
We all understand the incredible impact that a gift like this can have on the lives of young Americans.
The billionaires behind Dell Technologies, Michael and Susan Dell, today making the biggest single private commitment made to U.S. children. Michael and Susan Dell donating $6.25 billion to 25 million children 10 and younger, giving them $250 each. The Dell donation will go into savings accounts for kids who live in zip codes with a median family income of $150,000 or less and who don't qualify for the $1,000 federal newborn accounts.
We believe that when children have a future that they can see is worth saving for, then that will help build hope and opportunity and prosperity.
Now, there are still logistical questions about the donations, but according to Invest America, sign-ups for the accounts are expected to open next summer. Melissa Adon, ABC News, Los Angeles.
No one won the Powerball jackpot prize of $740 million in Monday night's drawing. The estimated jackpot for the Powerball is now $775 million with a cash option of $362.5 million. The next Powerball drawing is Wednesday night. The jackpot has not been won since September 6th when two winning tickets sold, one of them in Texas, split a $1.787 billion prize. Powerball players have a 1 in over 292 million chance of winning the jackpot prize.
I forgot to buy a ticket again.
Before you go, Mac, and get the ticket, how about the weather?
Okay, I'll do the weather first. But get my car ready. I got to go get the tickets. Anyway, folks, good evening, everyone. We are looking at some cool weather out there. Of course, the sun was very nice this afternoon. We're down to 51 degrees right about now. The morning low, yeah, you probably felt it, was 37 right there, right at about 7 a.m. And we only warmed up to 58 today, even with the sunshine. We're going to warm up tomorrow, but the clouds are rolling back in, and there's a solid chance for rain later this week. We'll be talking about that coming up after this. Well, good evening, everybody. Fairly quiet weather for tonight, but tomorrow the cloud deck rolls back in. Remember, we had that front, went down into the Gulf, and then it's going to back up tomorrow. So the southeast wind will return, and it'll become overcast, cloudy, and a little bit of drizzle, although I wouldn't call it a big rain thing on Wednesday. Thursday, though, things get very interesting as an upper air storm rolls over us, and all of a sudden we've got some unstable air that's going to pop a few thunder showers. The big storm that was in the Midwest is finally pulled away, so it's actually moving out to sea tonight, but it's getting real cold in this part of the world, and of course they're dealing right now with about 6 inches of snow on the ground. No watches and warnings for our area. In fact, Texas is on the quiet side, as you can see right about there, but the big Midwestern storm is pulling away, and the only warnings left are for the New England states. And of course, here you see the next big system developing out of the Rockies, and that will be having something to do with you and me. So we'll talk about it in a moment. Right now, we're looking at our lows tonight. About 43 in Victoria, about 40 in Gonzales, still in the 30s up along the I-10 corridor. But tomorrow, even though we're getting cloud cover, we're going to warm up another 10 degrees to about 68 because of the return of that southeast wind. That's, of course, the major difference, and that's going to give us the cloud cover as well. As you can see right about here, we're looking at 40s and 50s for much of Texas. But you go a little bit farther north, I wanted you to see this. Of course, here's where the snow occurred. And right here is where the really cold air starts pushing down. And we go from Tuesday night into Wednesday, and you can see some really cold weather, -2 here up upper portions of Minnesota and Wisconsin rather, and Minnesota. And then, it's going to be, shall we say, hugging the upper Midwest as the really cold air is not that far away. I just wanted you to see that. So way down here, our temperatures will moderate a little bit, but the rain chance will be quite interesting. Here's Future Tracker. We start off with Tuesday night, go into Wednesday. So far, so good. But by Wednesday afternoon, you start seeing that southeast wind pick up a little bit of light moisture that will start rolling in here in our area on Wednesday, mostly Wednesday afternoon and evening. And then when we get to Wednesday night late, we start popping a few thunderstorms. That's the unstable air that's coming over our area. So we may see a couple of big downpours as that system rolls through. There you see the light rain versus the pop-up thunderstorms here and there. It looks like Houston will be under the gun, but we're probably going to get quite a bit of rain out of this system. And then that's Thursday night, still on the stormy side. On Friday, then it finally starts pulling away, and then we've got some clearing weather behind that. So we actually have a damp week, but I think it'll clear up just in time for the weekend. So look for the overcast to roll back in, getting up to about 69 tomorrow. And in Cuero, you're getting up to about 64, but look for cloud cover and a little bit of light rain here or there. I wouldn't call it a big rain out. However, the big activity will be arriving Thursday, 50% chance into Friday, a couple thunder showers. Then it clears up just in time for the coming weekend, and we'll get up to about 68 on Saturday. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. Love for you to scan that, put Crossroads Today on your phone, and we'll toss it back to Shawna.
All right, well, hopefully none of that rain will impact any of the football games this week.
Yeah.
But
Big
let's send it over to Ray Robinson, who has a preview.
That's right, Shawna. We got a lot of football to talk about and get over these next couple of weeks. But after an epic battle, the Gobblers and Sinton meet again this Friday. See the preview along with Edna's upcoming preview matchup coming up in sports. The Gobblers find themselves in another rematch from the regular season for round 4. And if we're using the past as a way to indicate the way we might see things this Friday, then folks of Cuero, we might be in for a treat. The Gobblers mean business in their upcoming matchup. And let's take a trip back to their Week 8 matchup against Sinton, which was our game of the week during CFL. The excitement in that game speaks for itself when you just look at the score for the Gobblers. They were down as much as 3 touchdowns going into the fourth quarter, but with some great touchdown passes and a brilliant onside kick, Cuero came back to win that game. Final score, 56-55. The rematch takes place at Hero Stadium this Friday at 7 p.m. How will these teams play against each other once more? Will it be in another thriller? We'll find out on Friday. And the Edna Cowboys will also be in deep postseason action down in San Antonio as well at Gustafson Stadium in San Antonio, kicking off at 7 p.m. This game is a rematch from last year as they prepare to take on the Lano Yellow Jackets for a second consecutive season. The Cowboys have been playing the kind of football that can get them out of close situations, as we saw in their overtime game against Ingram Moore. But Yellow Jackets will demand even more, finishing 12-1 and first in their district. Lano is a formidable opponent. The Cowboys will definitely have their hands full in this one. And the Ganado Indians are dominating their district, and the district awards reflect the outstanding talent on their team. Senior Austin Pena was named district MVP, while Landon Arriaga took home Offensive Player of the Year. Along with first-team All-District Defense honors, Logan Smokey Burris earned District Defensive Player of the Year, as well as first-team All-Offensive recognition. John Utley was awarded Utility Player of the Year. Sean Wills, Cade Nixon, Tyler Henderson, Jack Hurt all earned spots on the first team for both offense and defense. A big congratulations to the Indians on a fantastic season. And Ganado's elite athletic program continues to shine, and this time it's on the softball field. Sailor Burris, one of the star players from this year's state championship, announced her commitment. And Don, I think you're going to like this one. It is the University of Houston. She made her announcement yesterday on social media, so a big congratulations to Sailor and the Burris family and the Ganado Indians. And the future is bright for these young athletes in the Crossroads. And tomorrow in Goliad, it will be a signing day for Goliad Tiger lineman DeAdrian Tiny Anderson. He will be signing with the University of Texas, El Paso. The event will take place at the Goliad Event Center tomorrow at 3 p.m. So a big congratulations to Anderson and the entire Goliad family. And the San Antonio Spurs will be taking on a team that I'm very familiar with in the Memphis Grizzlies later on tonight. And despite the absence of Ja Morant, the Grizzlies have been playing some winning basketball in the last couple of games. Victor Wembanyama was a question mark for availability, but he is still ruled out for tonight's game. And as Texas Tech prepare for their Big 12 championship matchup against BYU, they know they'll have their head coach for the next several years. Today it was announced that head coach Joey McGuire has signed a 7-year extension. The deal averages about $7 million per year. Many say the extension is well-deserved. McGuire led the Red Raiders to an 11-1 regular season record and ranking as the number 5 team in all of college football. So it seems like a great time to be a Texas Tech fan. Don, don't you think?
I think it's a great time, and by the way, they'll be playing for the Big 12 Championship on our sister station, Fox 19, Saturday morning at 11 from Jerry World. Question, though, if Tech loses, if they make the playoff. Well, we'll see. We'll figure all that out Sunday. All right, we're back in a moment. We'll show you a very effective bell ringer for the Salvation Army in Colorado, and we're not kidding. Finally tonight, a 3-year-old goat, hey, who you calling an old goat, named Pongo is making the holidays brighter for families in southern Colorado, one bell ring at a time. Pongo has been ringing bells for the Salvation Army since 2023. Most bell ringers use their hands, but Pongo uses his mouth to create the distinctive ding, ding, ding that stops shoppers in their tracks. The holiday magic works. People can't help but smile when they see the dedicated goat at work. Pongo has averaged more than $1,000 a year in donations to the Salvation Army mission.
I'm not sure if it's just the sound of the bell that gets people to stop and take notice, though. Probably seeing a goat standing
doing
there.
it. Now, I alerted Captain Kenny from the Salvation Army Victoria about this, and maybe he could strike a deal with the Texas Zoo, maybe borrow.
We have
anything that
lots
works.
of goats around. They could,
that's
they could all
right.
be helping out. Yeah, for sure.
That's right.
And think of the kids. They'll have to go up and say hello. It'd be fun.
More money in the kettle. Yes.
It's all for a good cause.
Yeah.
Well, folks, tomorrow, although we start off fairly nicely, we're going to pick up quite a bit of cloud cover, and we'll probably see a little light rain, so it's not going to be quite as beautiful as today. And then on Thursday, we have that frontal system coming through that may actually trigger a few thunderstorms. So we may have some heavy rain on Thursday, isolated as that system comes through. But then it looks like it's going to be clearing up just in time for the coming weekend.
This rain is nice because it's allowed several counties in the area to lift their burn ban, so it's definitely helping.
Good time.
Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you back here tonight at 10.